Welcome. Before we begin, we acknowledge that where we are today is on the traditional lands, meeting grounds, and traveling routes of the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Dene, and Nakota Sioux nations. This territory is known today as Treaty 6 territory and is also the home of Métis Nation. We acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. Please stand for the entrance of our color guard, followed by O Canada and God Save the Queen. Please be seated. Across Canada and in many other countries, people gather on November the 11th to honor the courage and devotion of brave men and women who made the supreme sacrifice of dying for their country. The hostilities of the First World War ceased on November the 11th, 1918 at 11 a.m., the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The following year marked the first observance day to remember and honor those who came back from serving their country. Since then, many Canadians have served in peacekeeping missions, fought other wars, and have given their lives so that we may have freedom. We gather today to recognize that they too should be remembered. I'd like to welcome some special guests. School trustee, Mr. Mel Maloney. Sergeant Greg Carpet. Constable Ed Staudinger. Constable Brendan Marr. And our SRO, Constable Sean Chawai. I'd also like to recognize any parishioners from Holy Trinity Parish and parents and family members that might be joining us today. So I'd now like to invite up Constable Ed Staudinger, who will give a presentation.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Ed Staudinger. I'm Mrs. Staudinger's husband. I've been with the Edmonton Police for almost 10 years. Prior to this job, I was with the Canadian Armed Forces for 3 years. So the second time with the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. I served in Afghanistan in 2008 as part of Task Force 108, where my company experienced a share of combat. I joined the military in 2006, just as Canada was starting its major combat involvement in Afghanistan. My reasons for joining were simple. I was looking for adventure, and I felt that since other Canadians were joining the war effort, I should do my part and go with them. My perspective on war and Remembrance Day has changed significantly over the years. You're going to have to bear with me a little bit as I'm reading from my pages, and I might become a little emotional as we So you've heard all the figures from the Great Wars. You've heard about the significant casualties, the immense toll those wars took on Canadians. I want to talk to you today about something different. I want to personalize some of those statistics you've heard and show the real effect that war has, and then talk about what Remembrance Day means to me. You see, behind every statistic is a person just like you or me. A person with a family who left it all behind to serve a greater cause. Many of those people stared evil directly in the face. Many of those people didn't make it home. Despite all that, those people sacrificed all they had out of a genuine love for their families, their brothers and sisters in arms, and their country. It wasn't easy, but they never forgot what they were fighting for. Despite the horrible conditions, they did what they could to keep their spirits up. Everyone contributed to the war effort, but the situation did not improve. Not all wounds were visible. This is Sergeant Tommy Prince, someone I want to talk about. He's one of Canada's most decorated Aboriginal soldiers. He fought in World War II and again in Korea. Sergeant Prince's gallant actions saved numerous lives during both wars, and he was a brave, skilled soldier and by all reports a caring man. When he returned home, due to his injuries, circumstances, and discrimination, he eventually became homeless and was forced to sell his medals to support himself. Sergeant Prince's story is Shakespearean, heroic turned tragic. Unfortunately, his story is not uncommon. Since Korea, Canada served internationally through peacekeeping all around the world. The conflict in Afghanistan is where my experience began. This was one of the most well-documented conflicts, as the technology allowed access to the front lines of the action. A total of 159 Canadians died as a direct result of the conflict in Afghanistan. Canada suffered with each tragedy. The support was immense, showing that our soldiers were appreciated. It wasn't until several years after I returned from Afghanistan when I really learned the meaning of this. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. This was me during basic training at 18 years old, barely older than most of you here. I graduated from St. Thomas Aquinas in 2005, full of youthful adventure and exuberance. I was young, naive, and full of motivation. I had no idea what was in stock for me, no clue what the toll the war would take on me. I couldn't fathom the experiences that I was about to go through, and the sacrifices I would be made by myself and my friends and my family. This is me and one of my best friends, Chad Warren. We were both 20 years old when we went to Afghanistan. I went through my basic training with Chad, did my workup training with him, and leaned on him for support when times got tough. These were 3 friends of mine killed in Afghanistan. Chad, Mike, and Adam. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. They look so young to me now, barely older than kids. Age shall not weary them, nor years condemn. As I get older, my memory of Chad remains the same. Carefree, energetic, funny kid who made everyone laugh. I keep in touch with their families, and my heart breaks for them, not understanding the pain that they would have gone through losing one of their children. I think about the legacy that I'm left with. How can I honor their memory? And how can I remember them? This is my section carrying Master Corporal Josh Roberts onto the airplane, our final farewell. Josh was killed August 9th, 2008, bravely fighting beside me during a Taliban ambush. Early in our deployment, Josh comforted me when I had doubts about the impending combat. He was a leader and a role model. Josh left behind a fiancée who was pregnant with their son, Meyer. That day was the worst day of my life, one that changed us forever. I developed PTSD as a result, which took many years to overcome. This is Master Corporal Joe Alina. Joe was a friend of mine who survived several tours in Afghanistan. Joe fought beside me in countless firefights. Joe was with me when Josh was killed. Joe lost his fight to PTSD this summer and took his own life. Another casualty of the war, suffering from invisible wounds, leaving behind his wife, family, and many friends who had no idea he was suffering so much. Joe killed himself on his birthday. I was planning on messaging him on Facebook to wish him a happy birthday when I heard the news. While I know there's no way I could have known, the devil will always be in my mind. Could I have made a difference? What if I had called him? Provided an ear for him to talk to? Now I'll never know. This brings me to my closing remarks. I shared these stories because there are thousands and thousands just like them. Hundreds of thousands of Canadians who have sacrificed so much for their country. I want you to understand some of the motivations, challenges, and tribulations. I used to ask, what does this mean? To you, from failing hands, we throw the torch, and yours to hold it high. Now I understand. The legacy that hundreds of thousands of Canadians have left is simple. Appreciate the life you have. Be thankful that you are blessed and fortunate enough to live in one of the greatest countries in the world. Support each other. Ask for help if you need it. Provide that shoulder to cry on. Live your life to the greatest in memory of those who gave theirs so that you can live freely without oppression. Our soldiers have many reasons for going to war, but the biggest reason of all is love for one another. Love for their families, their friends, and their comrades. By carrying on that fellowship, by respecting each other, by caring, by being selfless, by putting others above yourself, that is how I believe we honor the memory of the fallen. That is how we remember them and how we carry the torch within them. Thank you.
Thank you, Constable Stottinger, STA alumnus, I will say. Now we'd like to introduce Sergeant Hardwick to come up and speak and share a few words.
Can you hear me? Perfect. Before I begin, I'd just like to thank the faculty for giving me the opportunity to be here today, and all of you for taking time out of the day to pause and reflect on the meaning of Remembrance Day. My name is Sergeant Rick Hartwick. I'm a current serving member of the 1st Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry, or PPCLI, based on Edmonton. I'm a veteran of the war in Afghanistan, having served 2 tours there, as well as one more recently to Eastern Europe. Today I'd like to take a few moments to share some of my own experience and my thoughts on why Remembrance Day is actually about you guys and why it matters so much today. I had the privilege and honor of serving with the 2nd Battalion of the PPCLI during the war in Afghanistan as an infantry soldier. My specific role as a machine gunner and later on as a rifleman. Infantry are the ones who fought the battles in the war of my generation and every war before that. I was only in grade 7 when my principal came over the school's intercom and informed us that the 2nd World Trade Tower in New York City had been attacked. In the days and weeks that followed, I knew that my country would likely be going to war, and every decision from that day forward took me to exactly where I knew I was duty bound to be. And in 2009 and again in 2012, I ended up in Afghanistan, and I was at war. This is the first reason why Remembrance Day must matter to you guys. Because like me and 4 other members of my graduating class, if you look around the room today at your classmates seated here, some of you will be honored enough to have the opportunity to serve Canada's Army, and some of you will inevitably see combat. Now, keeping that in mind, once your friends and classmates choose a life of national service, they adopt a life of sacrifice. They will subject themselves to every extreme, from sweltering heat to numbing cold. They will go days without sleep and push themselves through levels of physical exertion they have never experienced before. All to the realization that their teammates aren't just depending on them for a few points in a game, but for their very lives. They will have to leave home. They will leave their friends and their families behind for weeks, months, and possibly years at a time. They will put their hopes and dreams for the future on hold as they dedicate themselves to a singular mission. In the pursuit of this mission, they will risk their limbs, their mental health, and ultimately their lives will be placed on the line. But finally, they will adopt a life of uncertainty, where they do not know where they will go, when they will leave. Will they grow old, or will they die young in a foreign country, as a number of my friends and colleagues did? They will have absolutely no control over their lives. That final part, that's the sacrifice that you need to concern yourself with, because that is the part that you control. It's in your hands. You decide where your army goes, why we fight, and who. As young adults, you are the future of this great nation. You are the citizens who vote in the politicians. You allow us to go, in fact, you send us. But you need to make sure it's worth it. That's your responsibility to us. I would challenge all of you to take an interest in the world around you, talk to your parents and teachers, speak with your friends, read about history and politics, and to vote. I urge you all to care. Because regardless of how involved you choose to be in your country, Canadian soldiers will continue to fight and will continue to die for you. Know that once you send us to war, you have to own that choice, and whatever follows, no matter how terrible or tragic, is a burden shared by all, although often only shouldered by a few. This Remembrance Day, we pause and look back over our nation's history. Over 100 years ago, my great-grandfather at the age of 18 set sail for Europe in a war that was engulfing the known world. When he returned, he was presented with a medal. On the back of that medal was an inscription. It reads, "The Great War for Civilization." Thousands of men and women from across Canada would make that journey, by train, by boat, then on foot they went. They went to fight in hopes that this war, this great war, would be the last, and through their sacrifice, they could spare future generations from paying the cost of combat. This dream would turn out to be just that. Less than 21 years after the end of the First World War, my great-grandfather, now almost 40, found himself again on a boat bound for Europe and yet another conflict, one that would soon be called the Second World War and would drag on over years and through countless countries, changing the course of human history forever. This cycle continues to this day. Wars have been fought for many reasons. Nations have gone to war for national pride, for land and resources, out of fear of being attacked or in defense of an ally. Not all wars throughout history have been justified, but know that the voices that say violence is always bad and war is never justified suffer from an ignorance of history and a lack of imagination. There are causes worth fighting for, worth killing for, and worth dying for. Deciding why we fight next will be in your hands. I ask that each and every one of you reflect on that responsibility, and this is how we must honor those who have sacrificed so much so that we would have that choice. Do not break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep till poppies grow in Flanders fields. Thank you.
Thanks for your words, Sergeant Herbert. We'll now have Holly come up.
In Flanders Fields by John McGrath. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks, still bravely singing, fly scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hand we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
An act of remembrance, they shall not grow old as we are left to grow old. It shall not worry them, know the years condemned. At the going down of the sun and in the morning glow remember them. Please stand for the last toast and the 2 minutes of silence.
As we participate in Remembrance Day, let us bring before our God of peace our prayers for the world. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Merciful God, we pray for peace in our hearts and homes, in our nations and our world. The peace which is your will, the peace which will lead back home. We remember today, O Lord, all those who have died in any kind of war, soldiers who died in the horror of battle, innocent people buried beneath the rubble from bomb attacks, men, women, and children brutally attacked and murdered in their villages. Today we remember victims of the two world wars. We remember those who came home with terrible injuries, both physical and psychological, and those whose loved ones never returned.
Remembering the conflicts of the past and the sacrifices which remain, we pray for a world where war is still a grim reality. Lord, as we remember those who have lost their lives, help us to renew our fight against cruelty and injustice, against prejudice, tyranny, and oppression. Still we cry out to you in the darkness of our divided world. Give us hope, God of hope and peace. Lord, hear our prayer for the multitudes in every country who do not want war and are ready to walk the path of peace. May their voice be heard, and may they not lose heart. Lord God, we pray for the leaders of the nations. Pour out your spirit of reconciliation on them. Give them a longing to bring freedom from fear and freedom from want for all peoples. Give strength and courage to those who bear heavy responsibilities for the peace of the world. We pray also for the Christian church, called to witness to your love in this generation. May Christians work with all the people of goodwill to break down the barriers which divide people. May those who profess one faith respect those who sincerely hold another, and build a community where there is harmony and understanding.
Merciful God, we pray for all who face difficulties in their personal lives, help in their families, in their friendships, in their neighborhoods, or in their workplace. Help them to be calm in times of uncertainty and patient with those around them. Show us when we can help and give support to others around us.
On this day of remembrance, our hearts and prayers go out to all who mourn the loss of those who we loved. When we lose someone close, we feel that part of us dies as well, but part of them lives on in us. Give us strength and understanding to honor and cherish that gift. Help all those who are bereaved to find the same consolation that knowledge of your love they may honor the past by looking into the future.
Jesus Christ, you are the light of the world, a light which no darkness can quench. We remember before God all those who have died and light a candle to symbolize the light of your Son, Jesus Christ, which eternally shines and brings hope. You turn our darkness into light, into your light shall we see light. Lord, help us to put our confidence in you. You know we are often filled with fear and foreboding. Give us courage and deepen our trust. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
A commitment to remember. They were young as we are young. They served, giving healing of themselves. To them we pledge, amidst the winds of time, to carry the torch and never forget. We will remember them.
As we wrap up our service today, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our guests who are here today. Thank you to Mr. Mel Maloney for joining us, as well as Constable Chawadi, Sergeant Hartwick, and Constable Stottinger, and Constable Long. Thank you for joining us here today. As well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our parents and other community members who are here as well. Thank you for joining us here today. A special thank you to our cadet member who is here, as well as our band who performed greatly today. Thank you very much. Thank you to our leaders, our tech crew, and all of you who made this possible, and a thank you to our Gazette students who took what was just tables and chairs everywhere today and made it set up for us to be ready for today. So thank you all of you. As you all know, Remembrance Day falls on Sunday, so we encourage you to continue to wear your poppies. If you choose not to, we have a table set up by the rock there. Please feel free to place them there if you aren't going to wear them. And if you do find others laying around, please pick them up and honor them. And if you're not using it, then put it at the table so that we can continue to honor them. Please stand as we exit our All right, just before I dismiss you to Block 2, again, thank you all for being here. We're honored as the way, the respectfulness you showed here today. I'd also like to thank Lucy Lee for the beautiful artwork at the front of our school, and again, our our band for their performance here today. You may now return to your block. Thank you.